fuck off. We need the views. So my favorite scene from the film is obviously going to be when Sonic is limping towards the Emerald as the Death Egg robot is towering over him, and then it builds all the way up to Super Sonic. I am like, that is peak cinema.
Yeah, that
That's
was
peak
the.
game.
It also had the best shot in the film with the fucking death robot behind him, and all the smoke. It was great. It was generally a brilliant shot. So yeah, that was fantastic.
I also loved the post-credit scene. Um, Spoilers, it's Shadow the Hedgehog. Um, Genuinely, I remember when it first came up, I was like, ah, I wonder what this could be. And then they mentioned the 50 years ago thing, and I kind of shook Kara's arm. I was like, I know what this is now. And then Shadow appeared. Shadow looks incredible.
Yeah,
I'm so hyped for Shadow.
yeah. Sonic 3 is gonna be great. I'm excited. The
Well,
one worry I have
the
is with the power balancing due to having the Master Emerald now in their possession and how that would overpower them a lot. So yeah.
if it helps, the Sonic games know what to do with that, so I'm gonna assume they do, given they're better than the Sonic games. Uh, the worst part, yeah, was the wedded stuff. Despite having purpose, the problem is it's very segmented and it's tonally off to
Yeah,
what the rest of the film was.
yeah, I agree with that 100%. It felt really weird. Did not like that. It's not
Uh,
like bad per se, like a lot of it, but it is quite just like, you know. That is a very good description. You're welcome for hearing that.
oh, and Knuckles is generally incredible, and Idris Elba, it was definitely the right choice. 1,000,000%.
Oh yeah, I just thought it was fantastic. Nice Sky Jab and Zodiac. Hello, Benjamin Olsen. I'm glad you didn't say hi to CV because he doesn't deserve it. And he can't hear us saying he doesn't deserve it, so that's even better.
I don't think what else there was. Do you think I have a lot? Oh, the fight scene with Knuckles versus Sonic. I have zero issues.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Like, they use their powers really effectively.
Yeah. And obviously fucking Robotnik just staying in the background, waiting till he can get to the Chaos Emerald, the Master Emerald. It's like, yeah, that is perfectly in character. That was great. Okay. So my computer has disconnected from the stream. OBS is
No.
disconnected. So it
No.
is bad to a point where it's disconnected. Well, now it's reconnected, but still, I've been recording this, so if need be, I can just release it as a recording rather than uh, a live stream. But yeah, not fun. I have no idea why this has happened. I even managed to fix my computer issues I was having, my internet issues I was having, but I guess not. So yeah. Oh well.
Yay. But anyway, on to Sonic 2, given it's been recorded either way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, Tails was great. Tails was excellent all the way through. Oh, oh shit.
Oh, Yorobello. Oh, welcome. I know you. We have talked before. Benjamin. Connection issues. Yeah, I'm gonna put on chat because I don't know if people are hearing this. But I'm recording this. So.
Let me know when I can undef. Does CV not actually want Sonic 2 spoilers?
No, I mean, who would want that? I mean, I didn't care about it, but yeah. Uh,
I cared about it. I would have cried. I would have sobbed hard. I actually did get emotional during this film, and I'm happy to say that.
did
I
you
have
find
cried at Sonic the Hedgehog.
did you find out the way? Well, it's funny they actually had a reference to that, but it was so subtle that I didn't notice that at first, and neither did Jeb. But there's some people in my theater who thought it was hilarious, and they started laughing a lot. I was like, wait, why are they laughing? And then someone said the way. I was like, oh, that's why. That was funny.
The best scene was Eggman flossing, just for
Oh
zero
yeah, no,
reason. He
I
just
loved that.
flosses.
Oh yeah, he said if you can't floss around here, you're not gonna be able to survive. Which is like,
Uh,
it makes sense for his character to just say something like that. It's like, can you not do him flossing? I don't need Jim Carrey to floss in my film. I don't want that.
I, I was just like, Eggman, why are you flossing, my guy? You'd find this stupid.
Yeah.
Uh, Winter Soldier joke was weird, but most of the humor hit. It felt very much in character, especially the way Sonic makes jokes at Knuckles.
Oh yeah, the film was hilarious, unironically. I was like impressed by how much I laughed at it. Because the first film I thought was cringe, all the comedy basically, but it was fun. This film actually was funny, like to laugh with rather than laugh at. So yeah.
What got me is when Knuckles is standing behind Agent Stone and Robotnik, and he's just going dot dot dot.
Oh yeah, that was funny. He just kept saying dot 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 over and over. Uh,
I was like, oh, poor Knuckles, he doesn't understand. What was? The thing is, I'm trying to think of key details that get to my head, and I don't know why I can't. Uh, I did like the joke about Indiana Jones where he goes, "If we die here, it's a bit derivative."
yeah.
That was funny. Obviously, I would love for Jim Carrey to return in free, but I don't like the prospect of people, including the producer being like, he's irreplaceable because as much as I love Jim Carrey, he's replaceable. Um, you can have other people play Eggman, Mike Pollock. He's literally Eggman. It's like he's voiced Eggman in the games since Shadow the Hedgehog. So we've had how many games now? I'll go with a safe bet of 15. I'll say 15. I guess. So he's had that many games. He's voiced him in all the shows, and he has on-screen experience. So I'm like, what? If you're going to replace Carey, get Pollock. Mike Pollock literally wants to do it if he's offered. And much as I hate to say it, it is cheaper to get Mike Pollock because Jim Carrey's a bigger name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the games, but I wouldn't say Jim Carrey's irreplaceable. Uh, but I would much rather have him in 3 than not. So yeah.
If you watch at some point like the opening cut cinematic of Sonic Unleashed, you'll understand why Mike Pollock's Eggman in that. He nails it.
Mm.
It's like 6 minutes long, but it's like Pixar quality, so. What else is there at Sonic 2? Oh, I did really like how it all tied into with Long Claw. Um, and how they actually made sense of the universe itself, like they're from different planets. Especially with Tails coming across Sonic because the energy blast. So that was neat. 22 meters away. Have you guys seen the first two episodes of Moon Knight yet? Been decent so far, the acting elevates, but I hope those. I have. I've seen the first two episodes and I'm inclined to agree. I find two better than one. The worst aspect so far has been some of the CGI, I'd say. People think it's Mr. Knight, but I'm like, well, compared to comics, yes, but compared to its adaptation, I don't see it. Stephen is a very socially awkward person that relies on what people mostly do. So, like, British slang as an example of that. Oh, Zod's gone. Okay.
That's nice.
As an example that it's the character work that's elevating it a lot. Stephen and Mark, for that matter, are very strong characters, and the villain has such a presence in them. So yeah, I, I don't think it's going to sit the landing though. I want to be wrong on that. I just don't see it sticking it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
neither.
having red flags on some of the stuff, but we'll see. They're in Egypt now, which is a nice progression.
Also, yeah, CV can undeafen if he wants.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna.
He undeafened. Okay, well, that was nice.
Zod's got off.
Jesus
So yeah,
Christ.
Zod's.
So, okay. Fucking hell. Okay, so Tin couldn't be here. Zod can't be here because a storm just appeared in their area. My computer cannot fucking stream to save its life. So today is a fantastic stream.
It is what it is. I guess.
Oh, Jesus
I think
Christ.
has CV on deafen?
TV.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I'm very close to just saying we should just do this another time or just, I don't know. Because, Jesus, it is hard to deal with today. Like 20% of our frames are being dropped. Jeff.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm
Well,
recording it,
because-
so that's fine, but fucking hell.
Might as well get on to Skywalker Saga now and our thoughts currently on the
Yeah,
game.
so if you're watching this live and you can't hear us, yeah, I'm not sure if you will, but if you can't hear us, I'm gonna stop streaming. I'm gonna private the stream, but it's still gonna be recorded, and so we'll release it afterwards if it works properly, and if not, then we'll just do 42 next week. All right? So sorry about that, but yes, thanks everyone for tuning in for these 12 minutes, 20 minutes where we fumbled over making the stream work and just did not work at all. So yeah, goodbye.
Man, what a wild time.
Yeah, I'm still recording. So yeah, Skywalker Saga. What do you think, Jeb, of Skywalker Saga? Well, I try to fix.
So I've had about, I want to say, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours into the game. It's good. I want to say it's good so far. But it's not amazing. It's weird.
You're
like-
not amazing.
Oh, please kill yourself.
Nice.
It's, I don't know, the way it was marketed and portrayed, it was seeming like this was going to be a complete revolution in the Lego games. To a certain extent it is, but when I think of revolution, I think you're overhauling it all for the better, and not every design choice has been done for the better. So, for example, as I keep mentioning, I do not like this story progression in which most of it is point A to point B in the open world, and then you sparsely come across a level that's really short. I don't like that. I get why it's done, because it seems to focus this open world, and there's so many assets that go into a level. But it's like,
Well, I think it's kind of the same thing that made Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 so bad at certain points, where they focus way more on the open world rather than the actual like missions. So it's like, oh, you have all these new cool areas to explore. Like in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, you have like that entire world, which is like a multiverse basically, which is a bunch of different universes meshed together, which is part of the plot there. But it's like you have a lot of areas to explore, but you don't have like substance. It's just like, oh, you go there and you grab a fucking golden brick. But if you play Lego Marvel Superheroes 1, you have like the side missions to get the golden bricks were way more interesting, I think.
But that's the point.
That really does defeat everything I just said. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like a weird kind of design. Though I will say the open world is much better populated than in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, which isn't like a high bar to cross, but still, it is what it is.
It's like, And as well, from what I'm hearing at least, because I'm only on episode 2, and I'm like, how much am I for? Uh, guess I'm not finding that out. Um, I'm at the point where we're checking on Anakin's mother, so I'm quite deep in. But
Oh,
the
you're deep, huh? Okay. All right.
For
what
fuck's
they
sake.
choose as levels has been quite interesting. So like I know for example in Return of the Jedi they don't have the Death Star 2 battle at all. And I'm kinda like, that's weird. Because
Maybe
that's
you just missed it. Maybe you missed it.
I haven't even played it.
Well,
Right.
then you
That's the
clearly
point.
missed it. Yeah. No,
You
but
Oh
clearly
no.
missed it.
well, I've been playing. I'm still in the like first part of A New Hope. I think I just started the second mission, which is with Han as we're getting into the Falcon to go to Alderaan. Um, and it's like
That's a lie. That's a lie.
fuck you, CV. But I don't know. It is a very weird kind of like just skipping around through the story. It feels like sometimes we're just going past things that deserve more attention, and sometimes we're spending too much time on things that don't need that. Like a big part of the first mission was to get as C3PO and R2D2 to the escape pods. I'm like, that should just be in a cutscene, and I should be able to play more like on Tatooine as part of the mission with Luke. But it's like you only use Luke to find Obi-Wan, and then you start the mission as they're going to Mos Eisley Cantina. It's like it feels like a really weird design of like what you focus on within these stories. You know, it is strange.
It's like episode 1 I was at the Trade Federation. This was not a level which in the first game it was. Not the first game, Please Saga it was. Then I went to Naboo. Still not a level. It took me till I had to leave Naboo and be chased by the big fish that was on the first level. I was like, oh, okay. Then what happened then? It took till I was on Tatooine and was rated as Anakin to reach the next level. And then it took all the way up to the Darth Maul fight for the next one. And then I did the Naboo war thing against the droids. And then the final mission was Anakin with the ship, and then that was it. Most of it was just go point A to point B, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's like a 30-second cutscene typically.
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't like that much is that the cutscenes are kind of too long. Again, like a Marvel Superheroes 1, it had like the briefest cutscenes, even when they're like story heavy. It's just like a character talk to another. Oh, we gotta go there, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And then you start controlling a character and go to another point, in the map to start the mission, and that's it. You know. Yeah.
Let's continue to search for things. It's like I know what they're striving for, like fully, and I back it. I just want what they're striving for, at least the progression for the story, to be done better. I'm happy with all this open world content. I don't know how it's going to be, but I don't know. It's a very weird game, and I've seen and heard people with many bugs. I haven't had any. I don't even think I've had like major frame rate drops even. So I feel like a bit fortunate.
Yeah, I haven't had any frame rate drops yet, but obviously I'm still very close to the beginning. We hopefully will talk more about it once we get, you know, deeper into the game.
Yeah, I am enjoying it. I have it as 7. I think it does a lot of things right. So like the combat overhaul, I think's very good with class upgrades. That works. Keep that.
Oh yeah, that actually reminds you of one thing that I didn't like when I was doing the first mission is that I think the camera is too close to the characters. Where it's like I get once you're aiming, obviously camera's gonna get close because it's gonna zoom in. But once you're just walking around in the ship with Leia in the beginning of the game, I'm like, that is insanely close to a point where like I want you to take a look at this area, but it's hard because Leia is taking out like a quarter of the screen. It's weird.
That's subjective. I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, this is a really nice area. Like, as well, onto the graphics side, it's hard to believe this is a Lego game. Sometimes, like, I'm currently at the Jundland Wastes of Tatooine at night, and it looks phenomenal looking at the two suns and the sky and all the ridges. I am very impressed with how the world is designed.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's quite a lot of the ambience, well, just the surrounding world in that game is really impressive. Okay, so I'm trying to use Streamlabs now to see if I can make it work. So, yeah.
Is that bad? Is that flicker bad?
Alright.
Oh,
Alright, so Discord. Jesus Christ, I hate using new apps like this. Okay. So it is.
Wait, what? What 3PO is this?
Alright, and now.
Rusted. Okay.
ECUM chat. But, yeah, it is weird so far. I wouldn't say it is, like, a great game, but I wouldn't say it's, like, bad either. That's all I can say so far.
I also don't like. It's a subjective thing, but I don't like how the studs are now. There's not very many blue ones, and I'm like, oh, I miss those.
Okay. Okay. So if I wait, where's settings? Jesus Christ, I don't okay.
Oh shit.
Yes, let's put it in English. I hate Portuguese. Okay.
Why can't I suddenly boost game? What is happening?
That's another thing that I found interesting is how you can like properly sprint now, which is something I've wanted for the other Lego games in a while, because the other Lego games, if you're like in an open area and you start just, you know, going forward, your character will eventually start sprinting, but now you can actually like full on sprint by pressing the left analog stick, and I was like, yeah, that's good.
That's not good.
Makes my life easier. Where am I? I'm in a random cove. Blue star, yay!
If I click go live, ECUM 42. I'm gonna put it unlisted. It is not gaming, but thanks for trying that. Entertainment.
How do you expect me to get up here, game?
You fly jump.
Honestly, I think I am stuck. Oh no, I'm being retarded. There's thingies. I also like how intuitive the moveset is. It's very nice.
How do you mean?
So like, if you want to jump onto the handlebars and that, it's very easy now.
So what if I wanted to make a bomb?
You could make a bomb in this game.
There are quite
Sweet.
a few.
If you want to be a terrorist, I'll support you. Yeah, I'm gonna throw my lightsaber at a random civilian and laugh at their death. Hello, random civilian. You're gonna die. This is it.
To see how well the stream is doing. Oh, here it is.
You can't escape me. Now they're dead.
It is also dropping frames on Streamlabs, so the issue is definitely my internet. So that's good to know. I need to make this unlisted.
Be like me and kill civilians.
I will. Well, clearly I cannot make this fucking work, so that's fun. So what we're gonna do, genuinely now, is we are going to watch these videos as a recording.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Fuck
I
you,
just realised
Jesus Christ.
there's a different way to change characters. You can use the D-pad. Okay.
Oh, you can?
You can't. Yeah, you can't cancel out of a lightsaber throw though, and I don't know why.
Wait, are you all? You are all in it, so I didn't need to share the watch you the link again. But such is life. But yes. So this is a Batman stream, by the way. We haven't talked about Batman yet, but yeah. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the Batman and MovieBob's take on this brilliant film. And yeah, are you all ready to hear what our favorite person, MovieBob, is gonna say?
No.
I'm ready to kill myself.
Okay.
Is this a level? No. Okay.
Alrighty
So
then.
bring it on. I hate it already.
That is
I
loud.
hate this music.
Okay. Why do you hate it? It's just some nice jazz.
He misspelled detective.
Just deflect. Okay.
So I honestly thought people were either going to be more excited or more bent out of shape when it came to the Batman, but it seems like even though the movie was a pretty big hit, and a few people got pissy about exactly what you'd
Ranked income is watch can see the Captain Marvel point in second third. I think Batman was still even more woke. Every fucking scene had some notch of the ridiculous wokest movement. The mayor warning Bruce of red distribution of his private assets. For what? Wow, that is insane. I love it. Oh fuck! I just realized I had HDR on. So give me a sec. Oh,
You
man.
guys ever watch a wokest movie?
Well, clearly,
I was watching-
the wokest movie was the Batman. So yeah.
I was watching Moon Knight and that was really woke. Layla beat up a guy as Steven was suffering a mental breakdown. Men are weak.
Men are we?
I hate beta males.
She, you.
Classic Hollywood with that MCU wokest movement.
Yes.
No, I don't want to travel to space anymore. I want to crash into a building and 9/11 it.
What?
9/11. Jesus Christ, Jeff. Can you not?
What am I doing wrong?
Alright.
expect. It was almost exclusively the performative outrage grifters who nobody actually takes seriously, so yeah, a bit of a surprise. I mean, do people not care? I don't think that's it. People obviously watched this. It was a big hit. Is it actually subtle and nuanced enough and
Yes.
enriching and intellectually fulfilling enough
Yes.
of a viewing experience that the average audience as a whole was capable of experiencing it as an experience and sitting with it rather than incorporating it into the loud and stupid interpersonal meaningless content?
What the
Movie
fuck
Bob,
are you
calm
talking about,
down.
MovieBob? Yeah, he also talks so fucking fast, so yeah.
Like, it's okay, Movie Bob. I know
Take
you
a
got
breath.
hurt as a child.
Just take a breath.
Conflict that comprise our daily existence. Sorry, I can't even pretend to finish that thought with a straight face.
Okay.
Oh, you're really not as
That
smart
was
as I thought you
terrible
Was
editing.
it that all the most
was.
obnoxious voices in the popular culture who'd otherwise have been making hay about woke Catwoman or incel stereotyped Riddler too busy figuring out which side they were supposed to be on to pwn the neo-libs now that the top...
Are there
What the fuck are you
subtitles to
talking
this?
about?
What is going on?
We're a minute at 10 in,
This
and
isn't-
we've covered like...
Well, doesn't matter. He's just saying things.
It's like,
No,
how
but
can I say
it's-
political buzzwords?
Basically, yeah. Like, it's fucking talking about Ukraine now. It's like,
Oh.
dude, chill. This is a Batman film. You don't
Oh,
need
this
to
is
talk about
really
Ukraine.
nice. This
We
is a really
started
nice
the
design.
video, and it's like he's halfway into a political speech or something.
Mussolini, be proud.
Oh, Jesus. Alright.
Jour is an actual war and not a stupid culture. Holy shit, that actually seems to be it, isn't it? Oh my god, I was joking, but that's actually the reason, isn't it? Jesus.
What are you
kitty.
talking about?
But
What the
really, I think
fuck?
it's got more to do with the whole decoupled from continuity thing actually having a tangible effect on the way these things are received now. The Flash or Flashpoint or whatever they end up calling it hasn't even officially dropped a real trailer or come out to definitively establish that it's really happening yet, but it feels like everyone
This is
picked
It is-
awful audio editing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
What?
You can hear his audio clipping every time
I can
a
hear it
new
cut
clip
off,
starts.
yeah.
up the vibe that Warner Brothers is really moving ahead with some version of a DC movie strategy whereby the shared
Jesus Christ, do you not know how to cut your audio? It's not hard. And worse, all you can do, you just right click on the end of the fucking track And the beginning of the new one is gonna be like in the middle of the intersect. You right click and you put apply default transition, and it's gonna sound all smooth. Chill.
Universe continuity is going to keep on trucking as some yet-to-be-defined reboot focused on a newer era version of various properties and offbeat, lesser-known stuff filmmakers have more free reign with that's been working for them better.
Is he New York? From New York? Because he sounds like he wants to be from New York, but he actually isn't.
I'm just trying to process like all these statements at once. It's like
It's
we've
like
got
I just watched 3 videos in 1
yeah.
minute.
This is the thing. I don't understand where he's going right now.
I'm pretty sure he's using a completely different accent than the beginning of the video.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch a Sonic 2 video, aren't we? He's gonna get into how Sonic's like anti-Nazi. I don't know, something like that.
Sonic
so far, while the A-list
hates
brands get
Jews in
cordoned
this
off into
movie.
separate standalone spaces to attract the auteur-director set DC Black Label style, and as such, there's less of a sense of discourse sausage to be made of this, since this one can only prospectively affect its own sequels as spin-offs as far as we know so far. I mean, at least for now. In any case, I already ran my actual review in which I said it was fine, I guess, but what stuck out to me in the requiring spoilers to explain sense was how lacking in substance its finish was for something that was so stuffed with plot and took so long to play out. So I wanted to take some time here and lay out where I felt like this one rang a little hollow for me, maybe also for you, who knows.
How can you even say that, Dad?
Didn't like it.
Peter, it's so good.
We
It's
know-
like the perfect movie.
This is what everyone always says. Whenever it's
Okay, I'm just gonna pause for copyright, but we get the joke. Because we've seen this clip a gazillion times, so maybe just don't do this.
Just don't make videos. That'd be better.
Explain yourself. What didn't you like about
it
it?
insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
Yes, a
It
level.
insists upon
I
itself.
know the joke, MovieBob. Can you please, for the love of Christ,
I'm
stop?
glad we're 3 minutes in and
Nothing has happened, yeah. He just
Nothing
rambled
of
about a
value
bunch of
was
stuff and he's like,
lost.
oh, now I'm gonna start talking about the film. So
Point to make it.
And then he didn't.
It takes forever getting in. You spend like 6.5 hours, and then I can't even get through. I can't even finish the movie. I've never even seen the
You've
ending.
never seen the ending?
we get the joke. Can you? I'm gonna skip this. I don't care.
Is he implying he didn't finish the Batman?
No,
he isn't.
No, he isn't.
But
He's just using that fucking clip because he doesn't know. He's like, oh, this is a funny
This is
clip
not-
that is
this
somewhat
not the
relevant.
best comparison. This is not the best comparison.
Just cut it off
MovieBob.
before he says that. I don't. It's not hard.
Whatever.
I like that movie, too.
And look, it's a new movie, so let me say in advance, I'm doing what I can on the visual front, but there's only so much you can do to visualize a movie that's this brand new, so please enjoy montage.
It's
and
okay. It
review
would
the
have looked
trailer.
like shit anyways.
Yeah. One thing I can say, I can sympathize with that sentiment because having to edit videos for YouTubers who make videos before the film is out, having to edit with fucking trailer footage is not fun. I will say that. And I've had to do that quite a few times. So, yeah, I understand that sentiment, but it's also like he is choosing to make this video so he could just, wait until the film is out, which wouldn't even take long. It's like 46 days after, right? So it's like in 11 days, I think it's when it's out on HBO Max, so he could have waited, but whatever.
Clips. Anyway, spoiler warning in effect from here on out, and to cut right to the thesis, thematically, The Batman is a movie that actually really does not seem to care that much for the Batman as a concept, but it
Okay, that is a baffling statement. This is the film that understands the Batman better than any other thing I've ever seen, easily, but let's hear him explain himself, I guess.
either doesn't seem to know how much it doesn't like its own subject, or doesn't have the conviction, for whatever reason, to actually come right out and say so.
Why are you protecting a psychotic clown who treats you like garbage?
That's the guy who fucks bats.
He doesn't do that! Jim!
What?
No, that clip is funny. I like Harley Quinn, but I'm confused what the point of showing that was.
So,
I think he just likes to cut away because every time he cuts away to put a clip, he puts his Patreon link on screen and he wants people to see it. So he uses it as an excuse to put his Patreon link on screen.
Please.
Why
give
would
me
I laugh
money.
at
Mm-hmm.
MovieBob by paying money when I can do it for free?
it it takes pretty much to the end of Act 2 for all of this to come out, but here is the general what was that all about of the Batman, i.e. what was going on with the Riddler killing people, leaving clues for Batman, eventually staging a terrorist attack on the city, etc. The Riddler turns out to be a guy named Edward Nashton, not Nigma, because funny names are fun and fun isn't serious and grown up, and his story is that he was an orphan, which
What?
What?
It's just too
What-
silly
what?
for a grounded film, but chill.
It's okay, MovieBob. I think Edward Nash is a name of like an alias to the Riddler anyway.
It
What's
is.
the
He
issue?
has used that in the comics. So okay, but you have to use Nigma, otherwise you're being trying to be too edgy and mature. Okay.
definitely sucks, and he's especially double plus mad about it because back like 20 years ago, Thomas Wayne was running for mayor, just like in Joker, and he promised he was going to do a big
Just like in yeah, that is the character. Yeah, it's okay.
fix Gotham and give everyone a pony, yes, even the orphans renewal thingy, but then he and Martha got killed, like always happens, and so that didn't happen, and also the media made a big deal out of Bruce Wayne now being an orphan, but he was also still rich, so like not really the same thing as Riddler, so that was kind of like salted.
Okay, this recap is bad, but doing the fucking boom sound every time you put something on screen makes me want to kill you. But also it is overpowering your voice, so every time you do it, it's hard to hear what you're saying. And with Jab here in the call, I imagine he's having the time of his life hearing this fucking awful sound.
I don't know what's happening. I feel like I've taken drugs.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it.
In the wound, and the shitty orphan actually used to be Wayne Manor because they donated it comes to be, and how
Okay, the video was freezing for me. Okay.
actually used to be sometimes makes
Why did it freeze again? What the fuck is happening?
It's fine for me.
but he was also still rich, so like not
Okay.
really the same thing as Riddler, so that was kind of like salt in the wound, and the shitty orphanage he was in actually used to be Wayne Manor because they donated it, so that's like a commentary on how class resentment comes to be and how capitalist philanthropy sometimes makes things worse by perpetuating the system instead of overturning it at the root, which is actually pretty interesting, except this is mostly in the prequel novels, or Riddler just talks about it instead of being on screen, so not really.
What?
Hang on, no. That's not true.
Don't we see a scene there with the fucking all the drop pads there when they go to see that video that Riddler was projecting about Thomas Wayne?
Yeah, we get a whole breakdown of Riddler's motives. We get everything.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to show it on screen if you actually have a character explaining it as well. It's like just be redundant. Especially like it's his backstory. If you're gonna show everything, that it's just like it's all flashbacks, so him explaining it also becomes redundant. Yeah.
Anyway, the Riddler, instead of just the sad man, is he became a forensic accountant and found out that Thomas Wayne might have actually deserved to get shot because of corruption instead of just random bad luck. See, apparently when Thomas Wayne was running for mayor, a tabloid journalist was going to ruin his campaign by revealing that Martha Wayne had been treated in Arkham Asylum for mental issues because of, I don't know, stupid, convoluted lore bullshit about her dead parents that I'm sure will turn into stupider lore bullshit about Hush or the Court of Owls or whatever.
What? It's just what? Do you not understand how mental issues are genetic?
That sounded pretty bad faith to me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's stupid lore bullshit. Why is it stupid? Why is it bullshit? It's just, yeah, it's not even lore. It's just explaining how something happened. It's more backstory than lore. I think there's a big difference, but okay.
In the next one, whatever. Saved this mob guy, played by John Turturro, from dying at some point in the past, which meant he owed him a blood debt because that was a plot point in The Long Halloween, and that's a popular Batman comic, so...
No, because it... What? Yeah. No, they did that because it fits within the story. It's like, oh, I'm adapting this story. It works with this as well. Plus, it works to... like, thematically with the story I'm making, so... It's not just, oh yeah, it's from the Long Halloween, and we're gonna include it like haphazardly and not care about how it fits within the story, because it does. It's like, this seems so bad faith. It's like, oh, it's in a comic and it's popular, so let's add it. Which is how the Nolan films are made, I think, when you think about them, so yeah.
Thomas to save by scaring the reporter out of publishing his story, but Turturro maybe killed the guy instead so he could have blackmail leverage over the Waynes when Thomas became the next mayor, which may have been what prompted a different mob guy to have the Waynes killed in order to prevent one of his rivals from having those kind of connection.
My ridiculously circuitous plan is 1/4 complete.
Okay.
Please stop.
Please stop with these random clips. We're 6 minutes into this video. Nothing has happened yet.
He's recapped the movie.
Thusly, Riddler concluded that his class resentment had been justified all along, i.e. if the Waynes hadn't been corrupt, they wouldn't have been killed and my life wouldn't have sucked so much. Which, along with being an actually very realistic portrayal of the socio-political acumen of guys who do internet videos exposing the elites in real life.
Look it up for yourself. I mean, this is what they're... What do you think tap water is?
Oh my god, I get who you're referencing. You don't need to put a fucking video of... what's his face? Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
It's a gay bomb, baby. They're bashing it because...
I know! I get it! You just stop!
Gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
Cut away, please.
Is why he undertakes a reign of terrorism and serial killing against everyone in both Gotham's political and law enforcement elite and its underworld connected to that whole web of cover-ups and corruption, while also masterminding a scheme by his army of internet followers to stage terrorist bombings and a mass shooting massacre to flood the city and kill the new mayor, because dagnabbit, this movie will mix as many newsworthy metaphors as it can find to make sure you know it has smart politics, but also the most up-to-date, mainstream, palatable politics, i.e., wow, there's a lot of conspicuous centrist liberals decided they like the police again ADR voiceover from Commissioner Gordon in Act 2 and 3.
What the fuck are you
Is this
talking
English?
about? I have no idea what he's saying. He's just like, so the film is political and it's using current politics, but that's bad because yeah.
It's bad.
It is bad because it is current and it is palatable. It's like, yeah, what do you think? You want the film to be like the most left-wing thing or the most right-wing thing? No, the film is gonna appeal to like mass appeal because that's what most people view as being right, which is usually like the center-left kind of viewpoint that people have.
I think they should have followed Don't Look Up's example and made a movie that was really just so knowledgeable in every single aspect that it tackled.
It should have been called
I
Don't
hope
Look
you kill
Down.
yourself one day.
Because
Like, I hope I wake up and like your parent, if you live with your parents, they message to Discord like, yeah, CV killed themselves. I'd be so happy. I'd be
You're
cheering.
welcome.
I'd be having a party of your suicide. That's how sad your life is.
anyway,
Just kill yourself now.
Week, the KG Beast would have been in there again. Oh yeah, did you know that's who this random useless dude was supposed to be in Batman v Superman? Yeah, that was totally real. Look it up. Oh, also, the reason Riddler has so many people to kill is that all the cops, politicians, and gangsters running Gotham City now apparently use the death of the Waynes and subsequent investigations into and cover-ups about as means to enrich themselves and work out who is in charge of the whole.
Is this
power
whole
structure.
thing just
Catwoman
going to
is-
be him recapping?
well, he said he wanted to recap to talk about how the third act is hollow. So I'm sure we'll get
We're
there.
halfway in.
Yeah, but the video's about to start. Don't worry.
Ostensibly because her
Okay.
roommate went missing, but really because John Turturro is.
Why is there Hello
father
Kitty?
because-
I have no clue. You were talking over it.
I just looked at Hello Kitty's on my screen. Like, what's going on?
Subsequent investigations into and cover-ups about as means to enrich themselves and work out who is in charge of the whole corrupt power structure. And Catwoman is here ostensibly because her
Catwoman,
roommate went
okay.
missing, but really because John Turturro is her secret father, because that's also a plot point from Long Halloween, but mostly
It
because
is
she
indeed
was-
an adaptation of the comics. Wow. You're so genius for realizing, MovieBob, that a film about a comic character is adapting certain comics and comic plot points. Well done.
wasn't here, this would have like the least women present in terms of total screen time of like any Batman movie ever. Seriously, Sam Peckinpah would be going,
God damn, y'all need to get some bras in here.
But here's the
fuck
thing,
is
a lot of
happening?
this
What the
is sort
fuck
of
is
moderately
happening?
edgy and subversive of expectations about the Batman mythology and whatnot, but none of it is really a twist in terms of the plot of the movie. Most of it is just right out there or in a video Riddler just releases for everyone to watch midway through, and the rest of it he just confesses right before the big extraneous final action scene. Just very matter-of-factly, here's who I am and why I done what I done. Instead, the twist turns turns out to be why his plan doesn't fully succeed, but also why Batman fails to stop it right away, so the plan mostly plays out, and why he still kills a ton of people and basically destroys a bunch of Gotham City. And this is where the Batman actually seems to be trying to do something really interesting and provocative and unique and even sort of bold with not just this specific property, but the entire superhero movie genre, holding up not only Batman individually, but the Batman-style archetype and indeed the entire extra-legal vigilante savior fantasy trope to the cold light of day for practical, philosophical, and idiotic.
Dude, you do not need these fucking big words. I get the point you're making, but you have been on this point for like a minute, just saying over and over the same big words. Like, what you're saying is they are subverting the Batman mythos by having his character inspire someone who wants to destroy the city, and that is subversive. That is all you're saying here, but you spent like 40 seconds saying the exact same thing, but with fucking... Ah, Jesus, whatever.
This morning I woke up and I scrumptiously walked to the kitchen. That was where I philosophically decided to open my fridge, and I took out some eggs basking in the sunlight. Then I cracked it open with a popping sound that reminded me of the days past that I no longer feel.
The days past that I no longer feel. Oh, Jesus,
and
alright.
then I popped it into the frying pan, and the sizzling of the oil entered my ears and my nose and my eyes, and then I remembered life is good.
I'm just going to love you. I haven't paid attention to a thing he's saying, because as soon as he gets into a sentence, I zone out, and I'm like, okay, I'll just keep playing the C3PO. I don't know where your point is.
And finding it to be actually kind of wanting.
Why are you playing clips from Harley Quinn? What is the point of doing this? This has nothing to do with it.
Yes, Batman. It's related.
You see, for a lot of the movie, people keep trying to tell Bruce Wayne that he's not doing Batman the right way. Even people who don't know he's the Batman or the other way around. Alfred tells him he needs to not be just the I'm vengeance guy. The new progressive mayor tells him Bruce should be a philanthropist like his family used to be. Catwoman explicitly calls out Gotham's elite for not just being corrupt but blinded by white privilege and makes sure to include Bruce Wayne among that list. And even he isn't sure he's actually making a difference, being basically a consulting detective who helps the police and also beats the shit out of street thugs. But, big twist, the one person who doesn't think he's doing a bad job is the Riddler. Riddler, as it turns out, underneath his own nominal...
Irony, thank you. If you hadn't put this on screen, I would not have realized the irony of the fact that Riddler is the only person who looks up to Batman. Thank you. I needed that.
What's been happening in this video? I zoned out again.
He recapped the film, and then he continued to recap the film.
What the fuck is the point in this video?
I have no clue. The only like qualitative statement he's made so far is that what the film did about with making Riddler look up to Batman is interesting. That is the only thing he has said in these 9 minutes.
Why is this my existence?
It's a tool.
Why am I alive?
Gimmick and nickname is just a Batman fanboy from the internet who thinks that the violent costume guy who beats people up and calls himself Vengeance must be more or less on his side about, well, everything, which kind of makes sense, really. As it turns out, the riddles, the clues, puzzles, ciphers he's been sending his messages addressed to the Batman weren't about Riddler taunting him. In his mind, he was communicating in code with what he thought was an ally and rooting out evidence of Gotham's elite corruption scandals, up to and including Batman snooping around, placing 2 prominent victims directly in Riddler's crosshairs, and he only fails to kill his main target, Bruce Wayne, because he never figured out that that's who Batman, really is.
Thank you for explaining Riddler's character to me, MovieBob. I would never have figured it out on my own.
See, this is why he's called MovieBob, because he spends 9 minutes of his video on the movie, and then the last 4 minutes are on the Bob, you know?
Okay.
That's who Batman
Irony
really
is a tool.
So, yeah, Warner Brothers went looking for a topical in 2022 conception of relatably terrifying human evil to menace Batman and came back with sad, angry dweebs from the internet who take Batman way too seriously. I can't imagine how they landed on that one.
You know they just did a 3-episode arc where Harley beats Penguin, Riddler, and...
I did not like this joke, by the way.
Mr. Freeze using nothing but her Mary Sue powers? Are you sure you haven't seen the show? Yeah, 'cause I'm not a 12-year-old girl.
But in twist number 2, it's eventually clear twice over that Riddler, just being a regular, obsessive, kinda smart guy and not a mastermind who could guess Batman's identity, means Bruce probably should have caught him a lot sooner than he did, but didn't because, well, everyone was right and he's got a lot of blind spots, was way too concerned about revenge punching versus actual crime solving, and in general is not really that great of a detective as yet.
Yeah, this is... I agree with these statements.
We're still, like, not into the point of the video.
Well,
like,
he wants to explain why the third act is hollow and why the film doesn't understand Batman, but so far he's just like, this is what the film does, and it adapts The Long Halloween. So
you see, I understand what MovieBob is doing. See, he's trying to make a point about the third act. And so, as every YouTuber knows, in order to talk about a part of the movie, you have to describe in detail what happens in every scene up until that point, so that the audience understands where you're coming from. So that's clearly what he's doing.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You're correct.
Thank you.
He and Gordon both turn out to have wasted a ton of time chasing a bad lead in circles based on misunderstanding one of the clues because neither one of them can speak proper Spanish and don't realize it until Penguin has to correct their grammar. And at the end of Act 2, it's implied that he overlooked a clue that Riddler intentionally left for him, one that might have prevented the big final disaster entirely even because he didn't recognize the function of a working-class maintenance tool. Finally, in case the point had not yet been laid down with a heavy enough hand, when Batman finishes beating up the last of Riddler's henchmen at the big climax, the cops unmask the guy and ask him his name, only to have him repeat Batman's "I'm vengeance" catchphrase back to them.
Catchphrase. You know that line that he said once? It is his catchphrase. Thanks, MovieBob.
Message! So when you lay all that out from where I sit, it's kind of hard not to posit that the Batman does not actually like the Batman all that much.
You don't want to understand this film if you say that, but come on, I imagine you're finally gonna have arguments now. So please, I want you to respond to your arguments. We spent 11 minutes on this bullshit. All right.
At least not the version of him that exists for 90% of its runtime. And
yeah, that's the point, that he learns to become the Batman, not because he's not the Batman until that point. That's why everyone calls him Vengeance. That's very clear throughout the fucking film. Okay.
You're making it up. Shut up.
Yeah, sorry.
Also not the general overarching Batman concept of the wealthy guy who fights crime fist first because he's getting revenge for parent murder.
Yeah, but that's not what Batman is. That's the point. That he needs to get past the fucking revenge. That's what Batman is in the comics as well. The ones I've read. Like, he started out wanting revenge, but that's not what he should do or what he has to do. It's like, yeah.
So you see, the movie, I know what MovieBob's point is. The movie shows that Batman should be more than just vengeance, but it hates Batman because Batman should be vengeance.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Not only does it present a year 2 Bruce Wayne who fails to stop a not that sophisticated crime spree because he's too self-involved, doesn't have a broad enough socio-cultural understanding of the city he's operating in, and basically needs to check his privilege. Hey, don't look at me, she said it. If he wants to be the Dark Knight we're generally more fond of, it explicitly presents the inspirational effects of vigilante heroism as being insane.
Hold on.
No, that's not
so
the point.
you just said, and I quote, that it doesn't like the Batman. You then said that it's tried to show the progression to the Dark Knight we're more fond of. So you're contradicting yourself.
Well, I think the idea is...
when I discover arcs.
He's saying it doesn't like the Batman that it's showing in its own film for 90% of its runtime. But then he also said that it doesn't like the Batman as like a concept. But that's not he misunderstood the concept of Batman. So yeah, and there's nothing he said has made sense so far. Yeah.
I thought what he meant was like the Batman the movie shows is a Batman that doesn't like what Batman should be. Like the concept of Batman is what this movie does not like because of judging by the Batman they show.
So he said that the Batman does not like the Batman that it's showing for 90% of its runtime. Then he said, but it also doesn't like the concept of Batman from the comics, which doesn't really make sense because he said that like the version of the Batman that is just like wanting to get revenge for his parents' death, that is what Batman is, which is untrue. And then he says that this film makes Batman into the Dark Knight that we know and love by the end. So that contradicts his earlier point about the comics. So yeah,
Maybe you should get some maidens.
I agree.
The Dark Knight we're generally more fond of, it explicitly presents the inspirational effects of vigilante heroism as being insane weirdos on conspiracy forums will stockpile guns and try to murder everyone, and there's no mistaking.
No, that's not. No, that's not the idea. What? Just vigilantism leads. That's not what the point the film is making. The film is making a point about Batman as like a character for himself, as like introspective realization that he is causing more harm than good by wanting to follow revenge rather than create hope. It's not showing that vigilantism leads to, you know, fucking Reddit weirdos grabbing guns and assaulting places, because that's not what the film is talking about. It's like, it uses Riddler as an extremist to show to Batman how his views can be misconstrued, which obviously is a thing that happens in real life about, you know, people who are idolized and their point of view is misconstrued by extremists because they wanted to fit their own agenda. So,
but you see, I disagree.
Well, I'm wrong then.
What real-world events and persons are being evoked there. Hence why Batman has the big, oh no, what have I done reaction when that guy delivers the I'm vengeance line at the end and has to make a big symbolic death and rebirth baptismal dive into the floodwater before he can reemerge as a literal torchbearer who now leads people out of darkness instead of the other way around, because by that point subtlety has been dragged to death behind the Batmobile.
Okay, this is the funniest frame I could have stopped it at. But I don't think that's unsubtle. It's like, the obvious thing is like, yeah, he needs to go save those people. He goes and does that. Like, he only realizes that he becomes Hope when that woman grabs his arm when he's putting her on the fucking helicopter to take her away. Up to that point, it's like he's just doing what he has to just save people. I don't know. I'm confused. I really need to, like, explain how it's unsubtle. It's like, yeah, it is dark, and he lights up a fucking flare to lead them to safety. Wow, that is so unsubtle. Because, I guess it is. Because it's like, he hasn't even... Because by that point, Batman isn't, like, he has realized that what he's done is cause a bad impact, but he hasn't fully explained... He hasn't fully realized that his impact could be made, could change for the better, how he could actually help people instead of doing what he has been doing by that point. He's just like, oh shit, I gotta change. But then he does what he does because that's just who he is. And then he realizes, oh, I should, you know, focus on that, on helping people, which is what he thought he was doing by the beginning of the film. It's like a change of him realizing that he had like some unconscious kind of thing where he was doing that prevented him from getting to that point where he was actually helping people. So I don't know how it's unsubtle, but okay, that's not. I don't know. And if it isn't subtle, I don't see a problem with it anyway.
Black people.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. What? Just
the moral
wait.
I don't know. The Batman is that Bruce Wayne went about his whole Batman.
I was on a different tab. What just happened?
I don't know.
Okay.
The moral and thematic arc of the Batman is that Bruce Wayne went about his whole Batman thing the wrong way and made everything worse, and even apart from him personally, vigilantism is an innately corrupting idea. Thematically, it's an anti-Batman Batman movie, which in a sense is probably the only true logical endpoint for doing a story like this in a realistic way, which is why it feels kind of unfinished, if not dishonest, for it to not actually follow that logical endpoint all the way through. In the on-the-page narrative arc of the movie, Bruce Wayne, as Batman, has failed at basically everything he set out to do. He hasn't avenged his parents' actual death. He didn't.
Yeah, that's the point. It's like saying, oh, in TASM 1, Peter doesn't avenge Uncle Ben's death. So obviously, the film is showing that vigilantism is bad. It's like, thanks, MovieBob. That makes perfect sense.
Make a meaningful impact on crime or corruption in Gotham. The city is in a worse place than he left it. Like, literally, it's underwater. One of the few people he actually cares about almost died. The Batman as a symbol didn't make criminals more afraid so much as give a worse type of criminal inspiration to...
Yeah, that's why he realizes he has to change. You're outlining the obstacles that came his way that made his character arc happen in this film. This isn't
He
bad that the film is like,
He-
oh, but it's still hopeful at the end despite all these things. Like, it's hopeful because of these things. These things make the Batman realize he has to change.
and this is set up from the very first few opening lines where Bruce doesn't seem too bothered whether he is actually making a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, to a point where he says he doesn't even remember when he does shit like that. He's just like, he has to force himself to remember.
Be the honest, organic ending of a story like that. You go, wow, I screwed up. I need to do something completely different.
That is the end point of that story. What are you talking about? That is literally what happens.
Not be the Batman.
No, not be the Batman. It's not be vengeance. And instead be hope. Did you watch the film, MovieBob? I am so confused right now. How
I think he doesn't understand Batman.
It's like, oh, see, the point the film is making is that because Batman failed so much, Bruce should have changed and been like, I should stop being Batman. It's like, what? No. It's like he has to change how he is as Batman. Batman isn't bad in itself. Like, the way he's acting is what's bad. If he had... hold on.
Because the Batman is a...
Sorry, you're gonna say?
Also, he made the point that Batman isn't scaring criminals. That's a lie. Batman is encouraging some, but he is scaring a lot of them still.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. I mean, that would at least be the kind of bold, brave, unexpected, holy shit, didn't see that coming ending that would make The Batman a companion piece, and frankly, in my opinion, a superior film to Joker in terms of being a standalone, filmmaker-driven, non-continuity, just as it is feature, which I thought this was supposed to be. It's certainly what they've been pushing it as, but apparently not. They've instead already decided that this is now The Batman of Earth 2, and it's going to get a spin-off, and they're already talking sequels, so instead of what feels like its only thematically natural ending, the big summation.
Yeah, no. MovieBob has no idea what the film is talking about. It's like, oh, he needed to stop being Batman. It's the only thing that makes sense because, you know, there is no nuance. You either are Batman and you do bad because this film is grounded, or you are not Batman and that's good. Because the film is grounded. There's no middle point there where you can still be Batman but do good in a city like Gotham.
Also, all of this bar the Penguin show, because I don't know when this video was out, was already announced before the film came out.
Yeah, but it's MovieBob, so.
Of it is, well, that stuff all sure did happen, I guess, which has the effect of making the preceding 3 hours of not altogether bad filmmaking feel like a kind of a lot of build-up to not really all that much in retrospect, which doesn't make this a bad movie by any means, just not as good as it otherwise might have been.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending. That's enough.
The ending of The Batman is bittersweet. That is the word to describe it. It is not... You can be happy or sad with it, but bittersweet is the only way you can describe it because it's like the city is in a worse state than it ever was. There's a power vacuum now where, as the way the film is showing it, we imagine that the Penguin is going to try to fill it, but there's also going to be like wars about that, which the Batman mentions. And Catwoman leaves, which is, you know, a character we grow to love as throughout the film, and we realize that Batman can't like commit to a relationship, so that's all pretty bitter. But there's the sweet idea of Batman realizing who he has to be, who he has to become to be a symbol of hope rather than vengeance, which is what he was doing, which caused a lot of harm for it. So yeah, it is bittersweet. That is the word.
I mean, it's still also too way goddamn long. The political stuff is well-intentioned but heavy-handed and cheesy. The car chase is bad, and the Joker thing is...
The car chase is bad. You can't just say these things and not elaborate. It's like, oh yeah, the car chase is bad. Okay. And the commentary is cheesy. Why? Please explain to me what your issues are.
It's dumb, but that's review stuff. Ironically, trying to split the difference...
The Joker stuff is dumb, okay.
...between a proper thematic payoff and franchise prospects ends up making it feel just as much, if not more, like a product in service of franchise management than the even more openly brand-driven material otherwise produced for the DCU proper or by the likes of Marvel Studios and Disney. Heck, in some respects, you could even argue that the Deadpool movies had more sincere follow-through to their own narrative commitments.
That is untrue.
What?
Deadpool 2 does not have that. Did not know. But also... It's just like he thought, this film should have ended this way, and he went with it to like the extent of like, if the film ends, since the film ended a different way than what I said, then that ending is like irredeemable, and it makes it worse than any franchise film, because at least the franchise films are being honest. Wow, that's insane.
And the second movie in that series undoes its own stakes as a post-credits gag.
I know what are you talking about. You don't need to show me the fucking scene. It's not even the scene. What are you talking about? You're just showing just a random scene from Deadpool 2. I thought you were gonna show the fucking post-credit. MovieBob, what are you?
Dark.
Skye. What if you forgot Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
I wish.
And that's the big picture.
Wow, that's bad. I have no idea what I just watched. So,
what an absolute train wreck of a video.
That was a video.
That video brought me pain.
I mean,
actually, just brought me frustration because I was just like, just get on with it.
Oh yeah, he didn't say anything for 12 minutes, and then he said bullshit for 2, and then he didn't say anything for 2 more minutes. So, yeah.
I didn't
that's why I checked out.
But you know, now it's time to look at Ben Shapiro. I imagine this might be more interesting.
Okay. So, fun fact: I haven't seen the video, but I did see like 10 seconds of it, and it was beautiful.
Ooh, interesting.
I think Ben Shapiro is a very based person. Yes.
I think Ben Shapiro is my father.
He definitely isn't pseudo-intelligent. No, sir.
Well, let's hear what he has to say about the Batman, because I'm sure he's going to give a very fair review, because it is Ben Shapiro.
Of course. Yes.
Alrighty, folks. So last night I went and I saw The Batman. My review of that is coming up in just one moment. This video is sponsored by Ring.
Okay. Something in the way. Okay.
How is this political commentator doing movie reviews? I don't understand.
Well, it's like all from the point of view of a political commentator, right? So. Yeah.
Well, he's not a very good political commentator in the first place.
Thank you for clicking on my review of the Batman. My review of the Batman is coming soon. This video is sponsored by Rick.
Oh yeah, the way he worded that was really funny.
That was amazing.
Last night I went and saw The Batman. Went and saw it with my wife. It is 1 million hours long.
I really would love for people to explain why the film being long is bad, or like how the pacing is bad, and therefore you can feel the runtime. Because there are like 3-hour films that I can watch and like not see the time going by, such as The Hateful Eight, for example, as an example of one. And The Batman as an example of another that I've watched twice, and every time I'm like, man, this flew by. It was so fun.
You hate superhero movies.
Compare that to Zack Snyder's Justice League, where I felt my wrists get sliced further.
Yeah, that film was like 26 hours long.
I'm just like the casual, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't... This... Okay, whatever. Go on, Ben Shapiro.
And it's one of those movies where I started off, and I was like, okay. And then I got a little further in, I was like, all right. And then I got to the end, I was like, meh. And then the more I thought...
Yeah.
We gotta run that back.
I'm sorry. That is amazing. That is the best thing I've ever heard.
When I watch
go back.
Yeah.
Hold up. 1 billion hours long. And it's one of those movies where I started off, and I was like, okay. And then I got a little further in, I was like, all right. And then I got to the end, I was like, meh.
Oh
you know what I saw the other day?
Things. What?
It was this tweet. It was like it was this exact clip, and it was captioned, Ben Shapiro describes his first time having intercourse.
Oh, I saw that. Yes, I remember that now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't it Jay? I think it was Jay who tweeted that, wasn't it?
I think so. Yes, it was. It was Jay. Yes.
Oh yes. That's
That
hilarious.
was so funny. I was like, what is this from? Oh.
Yeah, man. Oh Jesus. Yeah. That's one of the funniest
Yes.
things. Imagine like it's the start of your review of a film, and all you say is like, I started the film. I was okay. And I was like, all right. The film ended. I was like, nah. This is brilliant. Thank you, Ben Shapiro. This is like 30 seconds in. It's like a billion times more fun than MovieBob's video. So
it's so much better.
The cinematography was meh 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 meh, and the plot was yeah.
Yeah. I would want Az and Ben Shapiro to talk to each other. And just describe Eternals to one another. I think that would be great.
And then the more I thought about it, the angrier I became. And so you're about to hear.
Yeah, I just remembered that that was also part of the clip that Jay posted. I was just thinking, yeah. Yeah. So that is Ben Shapiro's experience having sex for the first time.
Angrier I became. And so you're about to hear a lot of hot takes on the Batman because I hate this movie. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to tell you right up.
That was editing. Wow.
I hate this movie.
Spoilers aplenty here. So if you haven't seen the film yet and you want to see the film and you don't want to be spoiled, I'm warning you.
What's going on?
All right, this is Detective Batman. So if the original Michael Keaton Batman was sort of crime-fighting Batman, and the Christopher Nolan Batman was city-saving Batman, this Batman is supposed to be Detective Batman, and this has a long history.
If you say so, I'd say that's very reductive.
Yeah.
That's a good reaction.
I'm getting chased by this fucking ugly cunt.
In the Batman comics, some of the best Batman comics, particularly my favorite, The Long Halloween, is rooted in the idea of Batman not just as Caped Crusader, but as a great detective.
I mean, yeah, that Batman being a detective in the comics is
Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro reading Batman comics is funnier to me.
Yeah, that is really funny, but it also makes me think it's like, so if you read Year One, would you think that's like bad because of the political commentary? Because I'd say that's like quite left leaning from what I remember of Year One.
Smarter than everybody else, capable of picking up on clues, investigating and tracking down crimes.
Okay.
I'm going to start with what's right with the film because it's going to be real short.
Everything.
So what's right with the film is that it looks great. It is a film noirish take on Gotham City. It almost feels kind of like retro Taxi Driver Gotham City. So everything is very dirty.
Not Taxi Driver. That's not how I describe it. I describe it very more David Fincher-y, like Seven style than Taxi Driver. Because Taxi Driver looks like fucking dirty, while this film looks...
That's more Joker.
Beautiful.
That's more Joker.
Yeah, that's the point. It's like Joker, the city looks like it's all destroyed, but this film is like, you can see... I guess, while the city is obviously in ruins, you can still see like some of the gothic kind of aesthetic that makes it feel more like a, operatic kind of story. Like makes it more grandiose, which is the point that I think feels quite a lot like Seven because of like the ending of Seven, especially that third act, the way it's shot. So, yeah.
Plus, like one of the main inspirations was like the choice to have it rain all the time because that's how it is in Seven, and so.
Seven and Zodiac were big inspirations for this film, so yeah.
I think it was inspired by yeah.
Yeah,
we're never letting that go.
It's shot in kind of grayscale at times. It's got a lot of warm oranges and reds, but against a very dark black. So it's a lot of muttered dialogue. It feels as though it's taking place in the same city as Joker is taking place. So if you saw,
no, it doesn't. That's no.
Not really.
I would disagree with that 100%. Yeah, no. I don't agree with that at all. I think these films are extremely distinct from one another, especially because of how like even the way like the set design is made. It's like this film is made to look more gothic. Joker is made to look like a big city that's just been destroyed. Gotham is like a city that is hanging on by a thread, but it hasn't like been fully destroyed, and like the underworld is the part of it that is like in ruins. So I'd say it's basically like Rio or something like that. That's the idea I get, but way more aesthetically pleasing with like architecture and shit like that. So I
Rio.
really disagree with that. Yes, Rio de Janeiro.
What a shit place.
Oh, you have no idea.
Joker, Todd Phillips' Joker, which looks like 1970s New York. It feels almost like the other half of that, but it seems more like the take on what future New York would look like if you were living in New York in 1970. That's sort of a good way of putting it. The music to the film is okay. I think that
Okay! You cannot tell me Michael Giacchino's fucking score is okay. It is a fucking masterpiece. Fuck you.
It is the best thing he's ever done.
Well, he is
I
right
disagree
wing, so
because
I
of Lost, but yeah. Fucking hell.
Yeah, well, you're cringe, so...
Have you heard the Life and Death theme? No, you haven't, so shut the fuck up.
You're cringe.
Ben
You're
Shapiro's
cringe.
right wing, so don't take anything he says seriously.
Michael Giacchino tends to be a little bit derivative in how he...
Michael Giacchino is anything but derivative. He has like the most unique scores. If you listen to Incredibles and then the Batman, tell me how it's derivative. He did Incredibles, Ratatouille, Toy Story, Lost, obviously, and the Batman, for example. These are 5 different properties. If you listen to those soundtracks, they're not similar at all. Like, I can see some similarities between Lost and like the Batman. Let me fucking finish, CV. I can hear some similarities from the Batman and Lost, but it's like small clips, but in you can see a big difference in how the Batman is like way more operatic and grandiose, and Lost is way more like this dirty, oh my god, we're fighting for our lives, and you know, this huge emphasis on violence, whereas the Batman has more of an emphasis on piano. You know, that's like a big difference, piano and organs. So yeah.
Oh, okay, so see, you're wrong because Incredibles say ba da ba ba da, and then it's like, you know, the Batman is like dum 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 dum. It's you're wrong.
It's literally the same thing. Yeah, you're right.
Honestly, I just think Michael Giacchino can't compose music.
He can't compose music. Yes.
So true, King. So true.
He also did the MCU Spider-Man films, which those films I would agree that the soundtrack's derivative because it is very generic. At least for Far From Home and Homecoming, so yeah.
If only Zack Snyder was doing the music.
Oh man, he'd be great. Yeah.
I know, right?
He does the scores to the films. This one, he basically takes the music that Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard wrote for Batman Begins and the Nolan trilogy.
And he throws that away because it has nothing to do with the music from this film, and he makes his own music. That is how the headset is gonna end, right?
This is the scene I've seen. This is the thing I've seen.
I cannot believe he said this. Okay.
Keep going. Just keep going.
Goes, da da, and here he just inverts it. So instead of da da, it's da da. Okay.
What?
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 I really want Ben Shapiro to make a series where he fucking analyzes music composition, because clearly he knows everything he's talking about music theory. So please.
So you see, I'm definitely the most into music here, I guess. You can have so the thing is, right, music is made with 2 notes. It can have more than one, and it can be inverted. It's fine. It also continues after that, so that's different. It's not the same. Yeah, I don't know. I have to explain this.
It's because like it's in the Nolan trilogy, the Batman theme, it doesn't sound anything like it. It's like, it's not even the fucking same kind of vibe it's going for. It's going more for like a superhero is like an action hero who's beating up criminals. And in this film is going for more like, this is a figure, like he's more of an idea rather than like a hero, you know? And that's kind of what it's going for, which is like the impact of the bah, bum 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 bum, which is you know based on which is why it sounds so similar to the Imperial March, because that's the point of making the character sound impactful and like fearful. Like it's not
It's
going
like-
even for the same vibe at all.
I find it so funny that he thinks the Dark Knight trilogy's theme is just da da. That's what he thinks the theme is. It's just 2 notes. That's all there is. That's all Hans Zimmer
Yeah,
did
there's
for
only like
movies.
those 15 seconds of the and then the soundtrack just ends. Fucking hell.
That's it. That's the theme.
Yeah.
I think you're just hating too hard on Mr. Shapiro.
It's like sure, it's coincidental that it's inverted, but it's not the same thing.
Well, it's basically like even if it is inverted, that is not derivative. Like you're still changing it and to show a difference in tone and everything. It's like I don't. And it's like I would say it would be a problem in quotation marks if it was and say like it was derivative if it was just the exact same thing but inverted. But it's not. It's like the beginning of the fucking soundtrack.
I'm curious to see if he takes issue with Riddler's theme being Ave Maria.
Oh yeah, that's derivative of religion
with a minor tonality. That it's so derivative. It's the same thing, but not the same thing.
So it's a little bit derivative, but the score is totally fine. The acting is okay, as we'll find out in a second. They give Robert Pattinson nothing to do as Batman.
You did not just say that. Okay. Remember the ECUM 40 where we were talking about the Batman? And you're like, man, the amount of acting he did with just his eyes, that was amazing. And Ben Shapiro's like, they did nothing for his character. Wow.
He has no character.
Yeah, they gave him nothing to work with. What a pathetic character.
Nothing to do as Batman. I didn't think that Zoe Kravitz had any sort of chemistry with Robert Pattinson.
That is false.
Okay, I disagree.
So she's fine. She's kind of flirty. Me, I didn't see anything.
She's kind of flirty.
We're going back on that. We're going back.
Nothing to do as Batman.
Oh, you went back too far, but yeah.
I didn't think that Zoe Kravitz had any sort of chemistry with Robert Pattinson. So she's fine. She's kind of flirty. Me. Nothing particularly wrong with her performance. I just didn't see a lot right with her performance. You have John Turturro showing up as Carmine Falcone, and he is John Turturro, so he's okay. He's somewhat menacing. The best performance.
I really would want him to actually have arguments instead of just saying, I did not like this.
He's okay.
Like that.
He's okay.
Yeah,
he's
it's fine. Like, can you please explain why it's just fine, or why, I need to understand your argument to be able to counter them.
In the film is Colin Farrell playing the Penguin. You literally cannot spot Colin Farrell in this makeup. There is no way that you can see Colin Farrell here.
Okay, I've seen this part too, and he's right about this because
I'm staring at him.
True.
It is Colin Farrell. It's the best performance in the movie. Paul Dano.
No, he's not the best performance in the movie.
It's not the best performance in the movie. That's not that part, but yes, you cannot.
Yeah, I agree with the
Colin
makeup part. The makeup was insanely good, but no, Paul Dano was what I argue is the best performance. Then Robert Pattinson were very close after.
I think Ben Shapiro was the best performance.
I think Zack Snyder was the best part of this movie.
Oh no, please don't go back there. I'm only one person now. Please don't.
I think MovieBob was the best performance.
Jeb, we have Skye outnumbered. Let's do another Zack Snyder tangent.
No.
Oh, Zack Snyder was his Sonic.
No! I'm gonna deafen myself and watch this video alone.
Zack Snyder created.
Look at what Ben Shapiro's saying
in the film. Although he's sort of playing the Joker a little bit, although he's playing it more.
No, he's not playing the Joker. That is nothing like the Joker. What are you talking about?
Zack Snyder's playing the Joker.
Exactly. That seemed the end. It's Zack Snyder as the Joker. But it's like, how can I don't understand people saying, "Oh, it's just the Joker," but called the Riddler. That's not. It's like, and also, I don't think people understand how Joker and Riddler are quite similar in some aspects. But he's not playing the Joker. He's playing a young man who has a door or view of reality and is trying to right his life by doing terrorism to a point where he like has lost all touch with like sensibility, so he thinks everyone deserves what's getting to them. So you can see that he lacks any sort of empathy, and that's what he is in his, you know, performance. I wouldn't say this like, oh, that is just the Joker, because I think the Joker is way more like psychopathic. He seems more like a sociopath, like where he lost all his empathy over time due to how he was treated and how he realized society works, rather than Joker, who is just like, I'm fucked up mentally and I'm just gonna do some weird shit.
I'm going to predict things that are not in my control.
That is
Zack
indeed
Snyder.
that is indeed a very good description of Joker in The Dark Knight.
As Paul Dano is apt to do. The main character of the film is the Riddler, and herein lies the main problem.
No? What? Wait, I'm confused. What? The main character of the film is the Riddler?
I thought it was the Batman. I've been lied to.
Huh, I think they misnamed the film then. It's weird to call it the Batman and, you know, give like 90% of the character screen time to the Batman. But hey, if Ben Shapiro says it, it can't be wrong, right? It's not like, you know, the film is about Batman learning how to become a better version of himself.
Zack Snyder would have done this right.
I swear to God, Jeff.
The biggest
He already did. He made a movie called Batman vs Superman, and it's a masterpiece in every
Oh, the
regard.
film
of
hates
filmmaking.
Batman. He said the thing that MovieBob just. I imagine though that he's gonna explain himself better than MovieBob, because he doesn't sound like he's fucking losing his mind and saying things like 5,000 words per second. So good on you, Ben. You're better than MovieBob.
Like the actual Batman character hates the Batman character. And this drives me up an absolute wall.
Wait,
the
what?
biggest problem with the film is not the wokeness. Yes, there's some woke touches. You have Catwoman, who is...
I'm just processing the statement. The actual Batman character hates the Batman character.
Well, no, that's what he's. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think the film hates the actual Batman character. Then he just repeated himself to clarify what he was saying.
Oh, the fat cunt.
Is a woman of color who is, of course, good, and you have the black female mayor who is good, and you have the black Jim Gordon.
Oh, this is Ryan Kinnell arguments. Oh my God.
Catwoman literally was being spoken out not to kill someone.
Yeah, she's good though.
Is apparently bad, like all of them.
He's a fucking Annika. Is she white? The girl who died? She was good. She didn't do anything wrong. Alfred is good. He's white. The cleaning lady is good. She's white. Obviously, Bruce learned to be good. He's white. There was the child of the mayor who didn't do anything wrong. He's white. And he's a big figure of inspiring Bruce to become better. So, yeah.
Riddler's
fine, whatever.
white.
I don't really care about that. That's fine.
Riddler's white and he's right. So, yeah.
You have Catwoman say stuff about white privileged elites, and she makes a suggestion that Bruce Wayne as a child, when his parents were killed, he doesn't really have a right to be super upset about that because, of course, he was very, very rich. That
is not what. No. What? She's saying there's a difference between being a fucking orphan who lived in a penthouse to an orphan who had to live in the streets. And that's what Riddler says, not Catwoman.
He's white, by the way.
Oh yeah, Catwoman is 100% white in the film, yes. There are people who have actually argued with that, yeah. Let's not go into it, but yeah, Zoe Kravitz, it's not white, okay? Okay.
She is. I think you're just making out.
Kind of rings hollow.
Ignore her heritage. Just ignore that. Ignore her parents.
No, she's definitely.
Don't focus on that.
The lines seem like
She's white.
throwaways for film lefty Twitter, but the main theme is not a throwaway. The main theme is what matters here. The film despises Batman. So every Batman iteration has to explain why a man who is a billionaire would dress up like a bat and go around beating up criminals. It's not answered. And the director doesn't know. And the writer doesn't know. And this is the problem.
What? What? It's for vengeance.
I
He literally says, I'm vengeance. What are you talking about? Why would he? Wow, I wonder why this character dresses up as a bat and beats people instead of, you know, using his money to help the city. It's not like he says, I'm vengeance. Oh, wait. It's like, what? Do you not realize what the fucking point of the film is? Oh, he doesn't.
No.
Jesus. In Nolan films, to take the contrast, the question as to why Batman does this is because if Batman does not actually intimidate the criminal underworld because the city is so corrupt, no one else will do it, and money isn't going to solve the problem. And so he needs to create a theatrical kind of fear in order to dissuade the criminal underworld from participating. And then, as it turns out,
And this film doesn't do that when, Batman says that the fucking bat signal is not a signal, it's a warning. That definitely is not, him striking fear on criminals to make them stop, with being criminals. That's not a thing in this film whatsoever.
he also has to save the city itself and demonstrate his faith in the city by becoming a symbol. Here,
Then that's why he wanted to give himself up halfway through that film. That's right, Ben. That makes perfect sense. But ignoring how The Dark Knight is bad, he does the same thing here. He was willing to fucking he even says that it might be the end of the Batman when he sees the fucking I know who the real you is on the wall of the Riddler's place, because like, oh, what the Riddler wants is to get the Batman, and if he gets me, then he's gonna leave everyone else alone. So this is almost over. Like, he was gonna give himself up as well, which made way more sense than it did in The Dark Knight. But either way, yeah.
You don't really know why Batman is doing what he's doing. It's never explained. He's very wealthy. He doesn't apparently do anything with his wealth. He doesn't try to give charity. He doesn't try, this is actually made a plot point. He's a bad man. He's white.
He's a bad man. He's white. Okay. Okay. I'm so okay. Okay, that was shocking. Okay, let me hear that again, because I have no idea what he's saying.
It's never explained. He's very wealthy. He doesn't apparently do anything with his wealth. He doesn't try to give charity. He doesn't try, this is
Jeb, you're echoing a bit.
Oh.
Actually made a plot point. He's a bad man because he's white.
Okay. He's not a bad man. The point is that he thinks money won't help anyway, and the only way to help is by being the Batman. And she's like, no, the mayor is like, no, we can inspire real change if you help me. You don't need, and it's not like because by that point we're still on board with the Batman, right? We're still thinking, oh yeah, well, the Batman is doing is right. So the film isn't portraying him not giving money as like a bad thing.
He's a bad white man who doesn't actually give charity. He's not involved, and he's not playing that as a role. Again, this is part of the problem, is that Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same character. So if I keep using
they always are the same. Okay.
It is the gold standard for all superhero movies.
No, the films are not the gold standard. Please do not say that, Ben. Those films are bad, very bad.
Just Batman movies. So when you look at Nolan's Batman, Bruce Wayne is the character that Batman is playing. Okay, Bruce Wayne is not real.
Yeah. Okay. None of that is real. Yeah, film mental vibes. But yeah, I get what he's saying. In The Dark Knight, for example, when he arrives at the helicopter and with two girls, it's like, yeah, he's putting on a show because that's who he is. So he actually is when he puts on the mask. But this film does that. Like, when Batman leaves, like, do you think he's just gonna become like super social? No, it makes way more sense for him to be like this social recluse who doesn't know how to act around people because of his upbringing. Because it is even stated by Alfred, I didn't know how to raise you. I knew how to teach you how to fight, but I didn't know how to be a father. And because of that, and because of the trauma of experiencing his parents' death, it's like he was made a social recluse. So when he is being Bruce, when he isn't wearing the cowl, he isn't like, obviously he's just putting on a front of being like, oh yeah, I have to attend to this, but he's using it as a way to gain information for his endeavors as the Batman, because that's the only time he can be like himself. It's like, you don't need him to act like a completely different person, because there's no reason to do that. Like, when he goes to that funeral, what did you want? For him to show up with like two girls around his arm and go like, oh, Harvey Dent, no, not Harvey Dent, fucking Falcone, my guy, where are you? And then talk to him as if he's like a fucking pimp, because that's not the point this film. Like, it would be extremely out of character and not make sense with the setting they're in. It's like, yeah, the Batman is, this is actually something that I think it does really well. It's like, yeah, the Batman and Bruce Wayne are the same person, so the Batman and Bruce Wayne would act similarly in terms of how they speak and how they view social situations. The only difference is that Bruce has to hide that he's Batman when he is dressed as Bruce Wayne. And, in The Dark Knight, it serves a purpose for him to act like a, fucking playboy millionaire because that is part of his act at certain points to gain information, such as him throwing that party for Harvey. So yeah, they work different functions in different films.
Batman is real. Batman is who Bruce Wayne really is. And so he has to play a fop. In Batman Begins, he's squiring around ladies in his Lamborghini, and he's buying hotels, and he's doing all of this just to cover up for the fact that he is Batman. So you get very separate Batman and Bruce Wayne. You get the same thing actually with Michael Keaton. Batman and Bruce Wayne are two different characters. Here, Batman and Bruce Wayne are the exact same character. There are points where Bruce Wayne is walking around. He's got the same dour expression, same glazed look, same kind of emo thing going on as Batman does the entire movie. And so there's no dichotomy. Alrighty, folks. Well, I may not have loved.
Oh, that's okay. And that was the end of the point. I was waiting for him to actually have like a point. It's like, oh, they act the same. Okay. And then now he cuts to an ad.
The Batman, but here's the thing. Real Batman knows how to protect himself and protect his family, and you should too. Flooding freaking grade ring. Alarm, go to Ring. Here's the actual /Ben Shapiro to get a great deal on a Ring Alarm home security kit.
Yeah,
today.
if you want
That's
Ring, don't use this
/Ben
fucking
Shapiro.
code, okay? Thanks.
So here's the actual plot of the film. Batman has only been Batman for a couple of years, so he's not really good at Batmaning yet. And he is tracking down criminals, and he gets drawn into a plot by the Riddler. The Riddler is giving clues so that Batman can track down all the way through the system of Gotham this citywide corruption that apparently is going to bring down the entire superstructure of faith in the city. Meanwhile, you have Catwoman, who's Selena Kyle, played by Zoe Kravitz. And Zoe Kravitz is similarly engaged in an attempt to commit a robbery against one of these underworld figures, but she's drawn into Batman's orbit by a murder that both of them are investigating at the same time, the murder of her roommate, maybe something more going on there. The Riddler is the main villain of the movie.
Hey, good on him for not saying it's bad that they imply they might be lovers. Good on you, Ben. I'm proud of you. You have grown as a person.
You see the Penguin a fair bit. Carmine Falcone is one of the big characters in the movie. You get a little bit of Alfred. Of course, you get Jim Gordon, whose main job in this film is apparently just to say Jesus over and over again.
Christ, it's Coulson.
He didn't say Jesus there. But okay. And that's untrue. Like, Gordon has a big role in the film and quite a lot of it. He's helping Batman, but he even fucking helps Batman escape the police custody. So, but yeah, he doesn't do anything. Okay. He also is the one who releases the fucking information about what's his face? Falcone, the rat. So, yeah.
Whenever something bad happens, he just goes, Jesus. And that happens like 6 times. Like, Jim Gordon does nothing except for basically stop Batman from getting arrested a lot.
So that is important, isn't it? Don't you think? He is always with Batman, helping him in his like detective endeavors. I'm very confused how you can say he does nothing, but all right.
That's pretty much all he does. He's a bad detective. He doesn't do anything. The plot is that all these people get killed. Batman uncovers it. He realizes that his dad was corrupt also, or that his dad engaged in corruption with Carmine Falcone. Finally, we get to the end. Paul Dano does it's such a ripoff of Seven. He gives himself up. He doesn't get captured by Batman. Batman
It does not. Okay, whatever.
does not prevent a single one of these deaths. Batman, in fact, is complicit in one of the deaths by accident. And he doesn't actually capture the Riddler because he's clever. The Riddler gives himself up by sitting at a diner and getting arrested. Then he unleashes a bombing of Gotham that essentially causes the flooding of the city. And Batman goes to the Madison Square Garden, where a mayoral event is now being held for the brand new mayor, who is an uplifting black female who has no other story or backstory, so she's really uninteresting.
What? What? You need the mayor to have like backstory? And she has quite a bit of character, I'd say, in all that she shown for as someone who wants like to uphold her values no matter what, to a point where even when she is warned that she might be targeted, she's like, no, the people need a leader, someone to tell them you know, that everything's gonna be okay, and that if we stick together, everything is gonna be fine. And that's when she goes and gets shot. So I don't understand how you can say this is like not any character, but like, yeah, she's not a major
character.
Well, it's like she's not a major player in the story anyway. It's like she represents something for the story thematically, but she's not like a character. She's not like fucking Catwoman, so obviously she's not gonna be as interesting. But that doesn't really matter. We just need someone who upholds those values. It could be a man, a woman, who cares? A non-binary person. Either way, it wouldn't change anything of like plot-wise. She just happens to be a black woman.
It starts to flood. And up on top, in the wings, are a bunch of Paul Dano's followers, are a bunch of the Riddler's followers who are all dressed like the Riddler, and they are shooting down into the crowd to try and kill members of the elite in Gotham City.
That's not what they were doing. They were targeting the mayor-elect. That's why they weren't shooting until she showed up. And then they started shooting once Batman got there. So, you're wrong, Ben. But okay.
And so Batman goes up there and he's beating people up. There comes
Yes.
a point where he's beating this guy and he's really, like, maybe beating him almost to death. And he stops and they take off that guy's mask and they say, "Who are you?" And the guy says, "I am vengeance." Okay, now this is the theme throughout the film. Ooh, the theme. Okay, so in order to explain why this is a problem, you have to now understand the character of the Riddler. So it says right at the beginning of the movie, "Who is Batman? I'm vengeance," right? He's just on the streets and he's beating people up.
I'm vengeance.
And then people keep calling him Mr. Vengeance for no apparent reason.
For no apparent... Okay. He keeps announcing to everyone that he's vengeance, but people keep calling him vengeance. It's weird, isn't it? I really wonder why that would be the case.
It's really weird.
Well, it's like,
I
if
agree.
people were... then you could also argue that the Riddler calling him the Batman is for no reason, because we never hear someone say Batman other than on his fucking notes or reading his notes saying to the Batman. It's like, well, where did that name come from? Like, for vengeance, we actually have a reason. It's because the Batman calls himself that. He calls himself Vengeance.
Like, we don't know why they're calling him that because he never actually publicly says he's vengeance. It's it.
Yeah, because when he's beating up those thugs, he clearly doesn't say that publicly. He said that only to one person who would never say that to anyone else when he says, "I'm vengeance." It's like, isn't the point that he's using that that word to say, like, "I'm vengeance"? I imagine that's being said in other times that he's beat up criminals to, like, inspire fear. Instead of having a name, he's just vengeance. Which, like I said, is more to show how Batman is more of a figure, more of an idea, which is the idea of vengeance rather than, like, a person. So, yeah, I don't know, Ben. Maybe there are many criminals who call him Vengeance, and that's just what they've called him because they don't have an official name for him.
In his creepy diary, which again is supposed to be a mirror image of the fact that the Riddler also keeps a Zodiac Killer style diary. So,
but what? The Batman, it doesn't keep a Zodiac Killer style diary. He just keeps a diary. Everyone who keeps a diary is now a fucking Zodiac Killer style. Okay. It's like, the Riddler does actually have a Zodiac Killer style diary because it's full of fucking ramblings and the writing is all fucking weird because of his mental issues, which is a really nice touch. But the Batman is just like, he's recapping his day because he needs that for himself, like, mentally, so that he doesn't, like, dissociate fully.
they're supposed to be two halves of the same whole. Batman is beating up this follower of the Riddler's. He takes off his mask, and the guy says, "I'm vengeance." And suddenly Batman sees. Suddenly Batman realizes he can't be vengeance. That's not what he's meant to do. He's
Yeah.
betrayed his mission.
Yes.
And so he then descends on an electrified cable because he's trying to stop people from being electrocuted by this flying electrical wire. And he cuts off the cable. He's holding on to it. He falls down into the water. A rebaptism. He gets up. And then he proceeds to lead a bunch of people who are not really trapped, but kind of trapped, I suppose. And he...
It was... So, there's a reason why he lights the flare. It's because it's dark. And if they get out of there and they can't see where they're going, there's a good chance they might get hurt, especially with fucking flying cable that might electrocute them, which Batman just now cut. So, he needed to do that before. So the reason why he needs to lead them out is because of that. But, yeah, you can still say they're not trapped. Because the point isn't that they're trapped, but okay.
He leads them to, I guess, a safer place by carrying a torch. And then he goes up to the top of Madison Square Garden, and he is helping people be airlifted and medevaced out. And this is how he has learned fulfillment.
Yes.
So what is this movie about? This movie is about how fighting criminality does not actually help innocent people. He says this at the...
That's not the point. It's not fighting criminality. It's the idea of the reason you're doing it and how you're going about it. So just beating up criminals isn't going to help anything. Which is also a point in Daredevil, the TV show, which is interesting. But yeah, just beating up criminals isn't going to help anything. You need to do something more than that, you know, which is why aiding people to get help is part of it. It's like, you should focus more on helping people rather than just beating up criminals who, you know, will just get back up and continue doing it. So It's like the way he's going about it, but it's just like going against criminals or criminality as a whole isn't a bad thing, which is why he will continue doing so, as he says in the fucking narration at the end of the film.
The very beginning, he says, "I'm not sure I'm doing any good. Not sure I'm doing any good by fighting the criminals."
Okay, thanks for that Batman impression, Ben. I needed that. But no, he doesn't say I'm not doing any good. He says I'm not sure I'm having any impact. I'd say there's a difference there, but whatever.
It turns out that Batman has to stop being Batman.
No.
Batman has.
Did he have the same interpretation as MovieBob? You're like complete
Yes.
opposites of the fucking political spectrum, and you really just did have the same fucking interpretation as MovieBob, Ben. Oh my, that is hilarious.
Has been missing it the whole time. What Batman really has to be is Superman. Batman
What?
needs to go into areas like Madison Square Garden and not fight the criminals. He needs to go and lead people with a torch to a slightly safer area. He needs,
What Batman
that's not
really
the
has
idea.
to be
Him fighting the
is
criminals
Superman.
isn't bad. That's what they're saying in the film. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
He needs to be Superman. No, it's like, oh yeah, he needs to lead everyone out of the fucking building, and therefore he needs to be Superman. It's like, no, that's not the point. The point is that his focus has been on getting vengeance, and that's why he's been so unhinged to a point where he is hurting his cause by what he's inspired by it, rather than wanting to lead by example. You know, to create hope.
to help medevac people on the top of the. He needs to build Habitat for Humanity. He needs to join Jimmy Carter and build houses for homeless people. That's what Batman needs to be doing.
It's
this
not the
really
point of
is
the story
a
at
sort of
all.
attack on the idea that fighting crime helps innocent people. It's an almost defund the
What?
police attitude.
What are you talking about? He will continue being the Batman. That's the end of the film. He even says that the Gotham needs him more than ever. And when he's talking to Catwoman, she's like, "Oh, you're already committed." It's like, what do you think the point of that was? That he's gonna stop being Batman? What are you saying, Ben?
Toward what crime is. And it's an attack on the basic idea that individuals are capable of doing justice by finding bad guys and fighting them.
No, beating up random thugs isn't gonna help anyone, you moron. What are you saying? It's like the idea is that like there are extremist groups who take your ideology and twist them to fit their agenda because your actions may be interpreted the wrong way because of how you're going about them. So you should lead by example, which is what Batman needs to do now. This isn't nothing to do with like the police or defunding the police. Well, I could say it has something to do with the police because of how the police acts towards people is definitely causing that same kind of thing, which is why the defund the police movement has gotten so big over the years, especially with their biases against black people. So that's why it has done that. So you could actually apply to the police, but it's not like, oh, the police shouldn't exist. It's like the police should act better, which is the point. Like people should just lead by example rather than just focus on getting vengeance and hurting more people than helping them.
Instead, apparently, individuals are only capable of doing nice things by helping little old ladies cross the street. It's this sort of
helping little old fighting those Riddler thugs is definitely not what he should have done in that moment. That's what the film is saying. Thank you, Ben.
mentality that has led to New York turning into Gotham City in the last couple of years, by the way. That's a fundamental betrayal of what Batman is. What makes Batman different from the Riddler and than any of these other criminals is these criminals target innocent people and Batman targets criminals. That's the basis of the character. The entire basis of the character is the cops are bad at targeting criminals because they're corrupt. Batman is good at targeting.
Okay, but you do understand that what constitutes like these bad people, it depends on what each person's experience is, and that's the point, right? How that the same way Batman was getting vengeance on criminals because of his parents being killed by a criminal, Riddler was getting vengeance on the city because he thinks the city betrayed him and destroyed his life by, you know, him being an orphan and mistreated his entire life. So like, the idea isn't that beating criminals, like going against criminals is bad in and of itself. It's how, you know, who you see as bad people is gonna depend on each person and each of their experiences and how those experiences can mold the way you go about change. And instead of going by revenge, you should like try to change things for the better instead of just making it worse, which is what both Riddler and Batman were doing. It's just going by like different people that they're targeting.
Targeting criminals because he's smart and because he's rich and because he's incorruptible. That's the entire basis of Batman. And they take all that.
No,
and
the basis is not that Batman is incorruptible. That like stories all go into how Batman could be corrupted. Like there's so many stories of Batman going like to the verge of becoming like a terrible version of himself. Is that like also the point of the Dark Knight as well? How like any of the three of him, Gordon and Harvey, could have like been led down that path by Joker, and they got the best of them and turned them like into a bad person, and how that could have happened to any of them.
Yes.
So, okay, Ben Shapiro's wrong.
They flip it on its head because they don't like Batman, and this is why I have real problems with the movie. I kind of hate the movie. Like the more I think about it, the more I get angry at it because they take the fundamental idea of what Batman is supposed to be, the protector of the innocent who targets the criminal, and they say that if he targets the criminal, this makes him no different.
But you just said he's the protector of the innocent, and he wasn't doing that. He was just beating up criminals without care of like who got hurt in the way, because all he wanted was to get his revenge, like let his rage out.
Different than criminals, because Paul Dano, who's the Riddler, is also targeting criminals all the way up until the very end when they have to just sort of add on this attack on Madison Square Garden and New York Broad Writ for no reason. He has no motivation for blowing up a bunch of trucks and flooding downtown. Like
no motivation except for the motivation is stated in the film that he wanted revenge on the city that, you know, destroyed his life. Except for the thing that the film shows clearly, other than that, then yeah, he definitely does not have any motivation to do this.
None. He doesn't explain why he does it.
He does. What? He makes a video explaining it. It's like all our lives you've lived and asked why us. Well, now these people are gonna, after this attack, they're gonna think why them. You know, why are we getting targeted? It's like, yeah, it's not fair, is it? The same way it wasn't fair that we lived our lives like fucking just homeless and not with our parents because the city never cared about us. CV, did you just die?
No, I was doing the suffering thing from the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's because you were so loud that Discord cut it out. So yeah. Also, Jeb, are you alive? Jeb hasn't said anything in like 30 minutes.
Explain.
I think Jeb is dead. That's a shame.
What the purpose of it is? All the way along, he's been saying, I'm exposing the true face of Gotham. Okay, that's a rationale. But what does that have to do with blowing up the city? They add that on.
No, okay. So he wants to expose the people who make this city and to show that the entire city is fucking corrupt. And by doing that, he wants to, you know, get revenge on. After doing that, he wants to get revenge on the city because he thinks the entire city is corrupt by virtue of what they did to him, except for, you know, the people who joined his side. It's not hard to understand. Okay, whatever.
Just so that they can create a false distinction between Batman and the Riddler so that Batman can change his mission. So now Batman's mission is not beating up bad guys and stopping bad guys. Now Batman's mission is to be a firefighter. He's no longer a detective or a police officer. He's a firefighter.
Okay, you're just fabricating what this film is, Ben. To fit your fucking point of view. Man, I hate this film because it's showing that Batman has to be a fucking firefighter instead of being a vigilante. It's like, okay. He sees a fucking fire truck showing up in the film. He's like, oh my god, see what the film is doing? Clearly, they want him to be a fucking firefighter. I hate this film.
Yes, that is the point of this movie.
Yes.
That's a betrayal, and it's a real problem. And that's my biggest issue with the film.
It just doesn't feel at all like a comic book movie.
It feels like such a sellout of what Batman is supposed to be. Again, it's got a little bit of woke politics, but that's really not the problem. The problem is the broader woke orientation of the film. If the Nolan Batman was about the idea that you help innocent people by fighting criminality and provide an inspiration to people to fight criminality, if that's the idea of Batman, which it is, that's completely thrown on its head.
But the idea isn't that... The idea isn't that, oh, by fighting criminals, I'm, you know, creating hope, I'm inspiring people. It's like, no, by helping people, I'm inspiring people. But the idea of the Batman is that he isn't helping people. He's just beating up criminals. Like he says, he's a symbol of fear. He's the shadows. And, you know, he's vengeance. He's not doing this to inspire people. He's not trying to get people to become better or to, you know, take up on his mission. He's just doing it because he needs vengeance. He needs to get, you know, his rage out in some form, and the only way to do that is by hurting these criminals.
Head here. Matt Reeves, who's credited as both a director and a writer on the film, he does not like Batman, and I can't get over this. How do you give $150 million to a dude to make a movie about Batman when he clearly does not like Batman? When he
Man,
thinks that
you're
Batman
stupid.
is bad, and that Batman has to be shown the error of his ways and learn to be a nicer human being. By the way, at the very end of the movie, Catwoman, who at no point has actually demonstrated any sort of moral bona fides. Like, I'm not sure she does a
What?
moral thing in the entire movie.
What? A moral thing? She wants to help her friend who was kidnapped. Is that a moral? Like,
Yes.
she shows compassion to her friend who has done nothing wrong. It's like, okay, we're gonna leave the city now. Then she goes and steals her passport to that end. She helps Batman when he's fighting in the Gotham Square Garden.
At the very end, she says to him, "Why don't you run away with me? And we'll go rob some hedge fund CEOs." And he doesn't say back to her, "You know, that's bad to rob hedge fund CEOs." Instead, he's like, he thinks about it for a moment. He's like, she's like, "No, you belong in Gotham."
Yeah, you're committed. No, but okay, so robbing CEOs. So the point is that Catwoman doesn't think that these people, these privileged people, they are, they're helping people. They're just having that money and not sharing it. They think they're bad people and she's going to steal from them. Batman, I imagine if they went together, he'd be like, no, you see that we're not gonna steal from them. We're gonna find the corruption and we're gonna try to fight it. And then Catwoman's gonna, like help on that end. And then they can get like money from these people who are actually like stealing from the people or, doing things of that nature. That Batman doesn't need to say that stealing that is bad, because I think it's very clear that Catwoman is like not being serious about, oh, let's just go rob any fucking CEO. It feels to me like she was clearly just like jokingly saying that and jokingly going, jokingly like teasing Batman to see if he wanted to go to her, and then they could like go around the US and help people who are less fortunate, and if they can like fight corruption together, because I think both of them like play to their strengths in that sense, which is also the point of her not killing Falcone. So yeah,
the generalized cheap left-wing sensibility is very silly with regard to Catwoman. If I have not made clear at this point, the movie's also 8 hours long. It's like a Wagnerian ring cycle. This film, it just goes on and on and on. Every shot is composed in order to have people walk across rooms. Like Christopher Nolan would snap that cut right to the action.
Yeah, and it's terrible action, the Nolan films. But yeah, it works for the pacing of this film. It's supposed to be way slower to show the gravitas of the situation. There's a lot of tension building by having that.
If you watch Dark Knight, there is no wasted motion in that film, and it's 2.5 hours long. This is 3 hours long.
Yeah, and it needed to be way longer. It needed to explain so many things in that film, but it doesn't. But yeah.
Like 4. I never check my watch during movies, particularly not a Batman movie, and I check my watch at least twice during this film. It's better than Marvel, because everything's better than Marvel, because Marvel doesn't take characters seriously, and Marvel feels like cotton candy. This doesn't feel like cotton candy. It just feels like a fundamental betrayal of the character, which is just, it's lazy writing, and more than that, it's not nice to the audience. The audience wants to see Batman be Batman and be good at being Batman.
Which he is at the end of the film. He isn't Batman until then. He's vengeance. Point.
And know why he's being Batman. They don't want to see Batman learn the lesson that being Batman is bad.
Thankfully, that is not the lesson.
Defeats the purpose of going to a Batman film. Alrighty, so that is my review of The Batman. I know. A lot of people really like the movie because, hey, it's Batman. It's hard to dislike Batman, but
it's also a good film. So, but yeah, that is also, yeah. It's not hard to dislike Batman. I don't like The Dark Knight. I mean, I used to, but not anymore. So, there. I dislike that Batman property. I don't like Heart of Ice. That is also Batman.
Folks, if you like this video, please like and subscribe.
I did not like this video, Ben. I'm sorry. But, yeah. So, this video was garbage. Is it better than MovieBob's, though? What do you think, CV?
I would say that video was... I would say it was better than MovieBob's, because it was actually a review of the movie.
It was actually
in some sense.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, MovieBob did say that he had a review, and that video wasn't like the review, but the point he made in the video also wasn't made because he spent like
At all.
12 minutes of the 14 minutes just saying nothing, and then he said stuff for 2 minutes that made no sense. So yeah. I'd say
Yes,
this
I
is
would
a
say-
better video just because it is like a video where he's saying things rather than MovieBob just randomly saying words and being like, that is a script for a video. That makes perfect sense.
It's also much better produced than MovieBob's. So
Oh yeah, MovieBob is terrible editing and shit like that, so I would agree with that. So yeah, Ben Shapiro's video was better because of technical, or because of the technical level it's at. But the arguments are really
Yes.
shit in both videos. But this video has way more arguments to tackle, so that's sad. But yeah, Ben Shapiro has no idea what the film is talking about, nor does he know what the character of Batman is. Because if you read a Batman comic, you know how much the Batman as a film really understands it. Especially Year One, which is the comic I recommend the most to, I guess, try to understand the Batman as a film. So yeah, Jab, have you survived? Are you back? Jab isn't back. What the fuck happened to Jab, by the way?
I have no idea.
But yeah, it has been fun covering these videos. I'm sorry for that. This is a fucking recording, and I will try to fix my internet as soon as possible. But it is hard as of now because I have no idea what the fuck is happening to what you call these issues. Also sorry that Tin and Zod couldn't be here because today was just that kind of day, you know. But hopefully next stream everything will be fine and we'll have to deal with these technical issues. So yeah, I apologize for all the stuff we've had to deal with in the past weeks with these.
I don't.
Fuck you. With these weird like things, like I have no clue what to do to fix it, but we move on. And thank you for watching if you did. The Batman is a good film. So yeah. Next ECUM will hopefully be about Spider-Man 3 with Shandy. So get excited for that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah!
Let's go! Okay, so anyway. Anyway, yeah. We'll catch y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I am vengeance.